Amateur Hour. Jeez, podcast. Amateur Hour. Jeez, podcast. Amateur Hour podcast on KC Sports Network. Amateur on KC Sports Network. Hour on KC Sports Network. Podcast on KC Sports Net. We're gonna talk Chiefs football for you, and you, and you, and you.
What is this, amateur hour?
Yeah, I ain't no Superman businessman like you. You know, I'm just an
amateur,
I suppose.
Amateur hour
is what's happening.
Amateur hour
Is what's happening.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Yeah, that's right, folks. The show is called Amateur Hour. I'm Ryan Scott Hall, and joining me today, I didn't even have time to come up with a joke. It's his Dirkness.
It's no time for jokes, buddy. Sup with it.
Sup? Well,
or maybe it is time for jokes.
I don't know. I guess, Dirk, normally I say, what's your big thing? And I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
But I want to start today with Patrick Mahomes, who injured a knee in the final minute versus the Chargers on Sunday. Unfortunately, the exact scenario I described in last week's show, making me now feel like an asshole that jinxed his team in the absolute worst possible way. At least Bill Simmons was wrong. Mahomes will not be playing in meaningless football games this season. I don't know, though. That being said, I guess my larger point in advocating for sitting Mahomes last week wasn't about optimal draft positioning. It was about giving a guy a break from having to carry this team for so long and the mental load that comes with all of that responsibility. And, you know, we've detailed the extra season worth of playoff games that Mahomes and the Chiefs have played the last 7 years. 4 regular season games off felt like one way for me to start building toward 2026. I don't know. I was almost thinking about it like the wear and tear over this time. It's almost like being in sleep deficit, you know, and it's like you can only catch up a little bit at a time. But this would have been like letting him, you know, go to bed early or whatever, sleep in or take naps or whatever. But man, because he's hurt, rehab is not relaxing at all. It's a whole different type of mental load. The type that can and almost assuredly will carry over into next season. And on top of that, as much as I love the guy, and I do love Patrick Mahomes, I don't think there's another word to describe the feelings that I have for Patrick Mahomes. I love him. In a lot of ways that he has been asked to be good, I think he's been good, but he's also been bad. There's some football stuff that's not been great with Patrick. And while in rehab for an injury, you can't really do the same type of work on those things that you normally would. And if we want to make all these changes to the offense, they're not going to have the same amount of time that they normally would. They're not going to get the reps that they might need to be able to implement those changes. And, you know, whether that's a personnel changes and he needs to get rhythm with guys or get timing with a new offensive line or, you know, any of these different things, like it's just all, it feels so fucked, man. And that is, I guess, where we start today. What's your big thing, Dirk? I'm down in the fucking dumps hard. It's not good, man. I'm in a bad place.
That's amazing, because the very first line of Dirk's big thing, step aside, Dirk Diggler. So I know everybody is down in the dumps right now. That's the first line, word for word. You nailed it.
Okay.
I mean, you walked all over this. I mean, there's calling points all over here. So here we go. I'm guessing basically every Chiefs pod this week is starting out very doom and gloom, like ours now, for obvious reasons.
You're welcome.
But I'm going to zag a bit here and try to spin this into something positive, because I had a bit of a different take than everybody else immediately following the devastating injury to Sir Patrick Mahomes. It was the absolute best possible time for Patrick Mahomes to get seriously injured. I know that sounds weird, but I understand what I'm saying. It happened at a time when the season was essentially already over. So he misses 4 pointless games in the end of the year. Big whoop. But it also happened at a time where I think he has enough time to be ready for week 1 of 2026. Now, one important disclaimer here, just so we're clear. I'm spinning this for Chiefs fans because that's our audience. Obviously, this is tragic for Patrick Mahomes. He's the one who has to deal with the repercussions of this injury. He's the one who has to put in all the work to overcome the injury. I don't want the human element to be lost in what I'm spinning here. That being said, I fully believe Mahomes will be the Chiefs starting quarterback week 1 of 2026. I understand how far away that is. I understand I have zero medical knowledge. I recognize if he misses part of next season, then this take falls flat on its face, and it's a disaster for all parties involved. A disaster, too. This is a disaster. But this is a dude who has blown away every injury timeline ever set for him. In 2019, his kneecap was going the wrong way. After popping it back into place, he asked if he could go back in the game. He missed all of 2 games. The only time he's missed games due to injury. He overcame the weird concussion being choked out thing in 2020. He missed the drive that game. He was back the next week. He's injured his ankles numerous times, most notably the 2022 playoffs when he threw a temper tantrum and about fought his coaches because they made him leave the game to go get an x-ray. He eventually came back in, proceeded to run on said injured ankle on the biggest plays the next 2 weeks in the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. Not to mention this dude already got surgery because he knows his timeline is tight and he's going to do whatever it takes to get back on time. So obviously this needs to play out, but you cannot convince me he won't be ready to go week 1 of next year. I would bet any amount of money he starts that game. But I was thinking about that Bill Simmons anecdote that he talked about with our guy, Nick Wright, and you shared on the podcast last week about how Tom Brady has never played in a meaningless game in the NFL, which was also still true about Mahomes, but was on the cusp of becoming untrue. Mm-hmm. And trust me, this isn't the Brady and Mahomes thing. I don't give 2 shits about that. This is about one thing. Patrick Mahomes isn't going to miss a single meaningful game for the Kansas City Chiefs. There is no other time in his entire career he could have sustained this injury and not missed a meaningful game or an entire season. And it's very possible there won't be another point in time the rest of his career. The only 9-month window where he could have gotten hurt and missed 0 meaningful games was the exact window where he got hurt. So I know this sucks right now. I know things seem dark, but take some comfort. Dirk's big thing. We found one more thing Patrick Mahomes is elite at. He's the best of all time at sustaining a season-ending injury.
I was wondering what it was going to be. Because, I mean, he is, like, you make a great point about his ability to recover from things. I would imagine that the stated goal, like when he talked to the surgeon, I have to be ready September 8th or whatever. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if his actual goal is I want to be 100% available for my team in training camp.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not playing preseason games, I want to be on the field, like fully cleared, to wear my yellow jersey or whatever so they can't hit me, but like be out there running the offense, doing all of it. is probably
It will be like he's practicing but not cleared for contact. Not that quarterbacks are getting hit anyways in training camp, but it'll be like especially noted, like not yet cleared for contact, but out there zinging the ball around. Like I'm fully expecting to see Patrick Mahomes way ahead of schedule in his rehab every step of the way. I mean, the dude will attack this like few other athletes do. And maybe this is just me being hopeful, but he's the perfect guy you want, that he's going to put in the work, and his body seems to be able to overcome these injuries at an alarming rate. Like, how many times have we seen him clutching his leg where we're like, oh my God, is he seriously hurt? And it's like, oh, and you see the replay and his ankle bends and you're like, oh my God, like that looks bad. How are we going to survive this? And then like a drive later, they just tape it up and there he is back in the game.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, you make a hell of a case. All right. But I mean, I'm still not buying that an ACL tear is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Look, I want to talk a little bit about Sunday because I don't know if there's ever been a game where I felt so good and it went so bad. Like I was just convinced when I woke up that morning, they're going to win today. And I don't know what that means next, but like I woke up that day like the sun was just shining personally for me, and everything just felt like it was going so well. And I don't know at what moment it changed. Time got away from me since the game, and I've not been able to go back and look, but I had in my notes, like, is there like a penalty or something? Like the vibes all morning were just like fantastic. And then the Chargers scored before halftime. Yeah. And I was imagining, I was thinking like, did something happen on the drive? Was there something that, oh God, they got a penalty on a third down and that extended the drive, and there you go. And that's, like that's what I like started looking for, because it was just like they double dipped. They scored a touchdown on either side of halftime. Is that right?
Definitely before. Was it a field goal?
Oh, I think it would have been a field goal after, because they beat us 13-10. So they didn't even have two touchdowns.
But I mean, that drive, that is the drive where it turned. Obviously, I mean, they're up 13-3 before that. And it started with,
for correcting me, 16-13.
It started with bad special teams coverage where they might not even try to score if they didn't get that, but they returned it to like the 45 is what I remember. Just the 40, I guess. So they returned it to the 40 yards. Then they're like, oh yeah, well, we got some timeouts. Let's try and move the ball here. Then they call two catches that I don't think are catches. I know everybody complains about the catch rules in the NFL. I feel like I have a really good beat on it.
Are you including the touchdown as one of those two?
Yeah, because he's still bobbling that as he's going to the ground. Like he's laying out of bounds, and I don't think still has full control of it. I think that one was more of a catch than the first one, where I think the dude just lands on the ball. I didn't understand that one at all. That one really confused me. So it's, man, I can't believe how much time we spent, I don't know, complaining about the refs last year. And it's like, man, shut up, get over yourselves. And it's like, I mean, I've always, you get mad at the refs. I'm not this person who just expects perfect refereeing, but man, when you are down in a game and need a play to be made, need some momentum to go your way, goddamn, is it frustrating to have calls go against you repeatedly. And it feels like these last 5 weeks, we just cannot get a call. And it is every week. I'm like, oh, I don't care that much about this game. We're probably done. Just going to chill out, have a good time watching this. And then there I am getting fired up a Cowboys game, losing my mind. Man, last few weeks, it has been testing my will to not get mad at the refs.
I was listening
They didn't even call those pass interferences in the first half, and I'm fine with it. Obviously, I am fine with them not calling pass interference. And then they call some defensive hold on us that's just like, now you're calling this after not calling in the first half. That's fine. Let them play football. This is what I want to watch. But then you come out and call that bullshit in the second half, and it's just like, be consistent. Don't call anything.
All right. So Simmons, when talking about the Pats Bills game, he's like, we were up 21-0. So like, I'm not complaining, but it really felt like there were like 7 calls in that game that mattered. And every one of them went against the Patriots. Was his description of the game. And I'm like, that is exactly how I have felt about the Chiefs for like the last 3 straight games. Every single time a penalty comes down that like would change the win probability or something, every single time it's the other team, is how it has felt the last few weeks. When the Chiefs haven't needed any of these, I mean, don't get me wrong, there have been times that they have over the Mahomes era, but like there have been so many times where like we would get a penalty and it's like we don't even need that. Thanks for the extra yards, but like we'll be fine. Yeah. And now when we like need a penalty, like we need air to breathe, we cannot buy one. Like it is just, it's rough. Let's take a break. We'll keep going on the other side here.
Missouri, your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. Now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Missouri fans know game day. The tailgates, the noise, the passion. Now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KCSN. New Missouri customers bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code KCSN. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
All right. So we were talking about the game. I think that something that the game did for me, it really cemented to me that the whatever is going on with this team this year, like I have no questions about like if Mahomes was out there or whatever, if he wouldn't have missed the few plays that he missed, the final drive essentially or whatnot, they don't have whatever they needed to be a good football team this year. And I think it's going to be really interesting trying to pinpoint what the Chiefs think the problem is based on whatever moves happen, right? Like the moves will tell us something about maybe where they are assigning some blame. I guess it felt, I don't know, oddly good to be able to really close the door on this season because of that injury and the way that the game went for me. It felt just like the finality that I needed, that I can just kind of let go of all of the confusion and frustration that has come from this year. And so I guess that has been good, but I think what's been fueling the continued frustration for me over the last few days is that the first sentence or first maybe 2 sentences of Mahomes's post. I don't know why this had to happen, and I'm not going to lie, it hurts. I believe those were the first 2 things that he said. And I don't know why this had to happen. We could spend an entire podcast on that. But I don't I don't want to get lost in it. It's just a matter of like, that's kind of where I'm at too. I don't know why this had to happen. And that works on a lot of different levels. I don't know why he had to get hurt. I don't know why this season went the way that it did. And ultimately, I don't know. Do you have any ideas about like what the problems are? Because I don't want to say what the problem is. It's not one thing. It's probably a bunch. Is it? I mean, maybe it's all the things we've been talking about all year long. Steven Ruiz retweeted his article from after they went 0-2, and he basically said, this team sucks, and this offense is terrible. They've let the roster deteriorate around Patrick Mahomes, and they're just bad and boring. And like what he wrote the Monday after, or probably the Sunday night of that loss to the Eagles, in week 2 of this season, it all still rings true now. They've not grown or changed or evolved in any type of way.
Which is what we're used to. I mean, it was kind of like, yeah, maybe they do now. Like, you might not be wrong now, but our weapons are coming back.
Yeah, I mean, when I read it in September, I said, well, just wait till it matters.
Yeah. Because the weapons are coming back. This team always improves throughout the season. We'll see you in January, and then get back to us, kind of thing.
And now we will see you on TV in January. This
obviously those things didn't happen. There's numerous problems. I mean, I think the biggest problem in this game was the offensive line finally breaking down. Because I think the stat was the Chargers blitzed 0 times in the game, but they pressured Mahomes on 50% of his dropbacks. So, I mean, it was just like, it makes sense because you lost. How many lost linemen did they lose? I mean, is it 5 of the top 8? Is that what they lost? I can't even keep track.
I was thinking about how Jalen turned the ball over twice on the same play, and it honestly felt like Jalen Moore got hurt twice on the same play. That guy left the game like 4 times. I felt so bad for him. Trying
to gut it out, but I mean, we're down Simmons, Smith, Jalen Moore, Jawan Taylor, and was that it? Just those 4?
I think those, yes, like Creed was the only remaining like starter on.
Oh, and Wanya Morris. Wanya Morris would be.
But Wanya got hurt.
That's 5 of your top 9 offensive linemen, or top 8 offensive linemen right there. So.
Oh yeah, they were playing. I mean, actively playing Essa Pole and Chu Godric.
Chu had some good. Chu had a good PFF grade. You see that?
I did not.
The things might be good. I mean, let's be clear. Caliendo was by far the worst offensive lineman on the field. I don't know how that guy continues to be our top backup when we're just throwing in 5th and 6th string tackles here, and they're doing fine. But Caliendo is just a turnstile. But once all of them are in together, and I think they're trying to go like, last week I think they got complimented pretty good for how they did in helping out the tackles and stuff, and kind of were able to run their offense to a degree, even without both of their starting tackles, kind of thing. Once they started playing this game, and they were sitting at like 60 passing yards at some point in the third quarter, and it was kind of clear, just like, this offense ain't going to move because they're throwing help to the offensive line. All these people are dropping back in covers. The receivers can't get open. Like, what they're doing isn't helping. So I think the adjustment there was, okay, we'll try and send out more receivers into the patterns here and give less help to the linemen. And then it was just tee off season. Like, it reached a point where Mahomes was just dropping back and immediately running for his life. It wasn't like he was gun shy or, he's scrambling to try and make a play. He was like scrambling to try and stay alive back there. So that was this game. Obviously, in the grand scheme, there are bigger questions with tougher answers than just, getting your offensive line back healthy. That's the easiest answer on the board. Yeah. It goes to coaching and to personnel. I mean, take your pick. The personnel at receiver probably isn't as good as we thought it was, as we're hoping as it was. And so that's really biting them in the ass. Coaching probably factoring in there too. I know nobody's happy with the receivers coach. That was kind of a big thing a couple years ago, and his name's kind of firing back up now, whereas you're just looking at a lot of lazy routes, not run well. Teams, I mean, do the Chargers even have good corners? I think they do. There's not really big names, but nobody's beating man coverage out there. So, I mean, I think if the problems are across the board, the solutions, I don't know, because things are so ingrained. It's the offensive staff that Andy built. They're his guys. So how is he going to address that? Typically keeps the same guys around. I know everybody listening to this obviously wants to see some kind of change made there. But I don't know what they end up doing. And personnel, I mean, you're just kind of, I don't know what you're going to do unless you start offloading good players. It's just like, I know the cap room, it's like minus 40 million right now. And that's kind of a fake number that they'll be able to improve upon, but I still don't think they'll have like a ton of wiggle room to be out there and, fixing some of these issues. I think I would lean into the first and foremost is that I see running games becoming a bigger and bigger thing. And I know Andy will never 100% lean into a running game, but I think you have to have more of a threat of a running game in the 2025 NFL season. So that means investing more in running back and probably fixing your scheme. I know Mitch Shorts was posting some videos, but he was mad at the running game. I didn't have the heart to watch them really, but he had big problems with the running scheme kind of going on. But fix the running scheme, add to the talent at running back, and then give your passing game some help here would be my easiest and cheapest solution.
A lot of questions are being asked about Veach. And I think it has to do strictly with personnel. I don't think that people are, digging too much into spot track and saying, oh, he's mismanaged the cap. I don't think that that's what's happening. To me, you mentioned Caliendo, and I guess when I look at Mike Caliendo, he feels like an example of like the possible complacency or maybe just some errors in talent evaluation, because when you look, I use Caliendo as an example of these issues because this is his fourth season on the team. He was undrafted, but he has been on this roster for 4 years. It's probable that in his first and maybe even his first two that he wasn't on the 53. He was on the practice squad, but he has been a member of the Chiefs organization for 4 years and is still at the level that like they have to play him. But would you say it's a stretch to call Mike Caliendo unplayable? Like,
no,
it's bad. Like it's shades of the big Lincoln Boxkey out there. Like, dude,
I think
so bad.
The worst was McGlynn. What do they call him? McGlynn the spin or what? McGlynn, what was it?
Mike McGlynn. That's
Mike McGlynn was. Somebody posted a tweet a while ago, and it was like, "Who's the Chiefs? Who's the worst player you can remember playing on the Chiefs or something?" And I was trying to think of him, and I kept thinking of the big Lincoln Boskey, who I think was not good, but not like terrible. But Mike McGlynn was the answer. He was the answer I was looking for.
Look, there's obviously something or many somethings that Caliendo brings to the table. He wouldn't be here for 4 years if that weren't the case. But like, he is ostensibly supposed to be an Allegretti, a Wiley, one of these guys that's been with the organization for a few years and you don't see much of them. But if somebody gets hurt, you can plug them in and it's somebody that you can trust. And I don't think that Caliendo is a trustworthy player. And so I'm like, how is it that he's been here for 4 years? And that's like, well, he's not starting. He's behind Trey Smith. Like, who cares who Trey Smith's backup is? Trey Smith's an all-pro. We haven't had to think about Trey Smith's backup until this season. And that's where, look, you can't be perfect at every single position. And potentially Trey Smith's backup at right guard, the highest paid right guard in NFL history, it's probably like position number 52 out of 53 on your roster. Get it? Like, it's not that big a deal. But when I have to watch Mike Caliendo play this poorly, and it feels like there are plays that get stopped before they even start because he's such a turnstile, it makes me start to ask some questions. And I don't know. I don't want to, try to take Mike Caliendo's paycheck away. Like I'm not trying to be that guy here, but I just, when things are crumbling, you start to look and say, all right, well, what went wrong? And I feel like whether it's errors in execution or sometimes feeling like maybe the talent has either just kind of gotten stale. Like, just because you were good last year doesn't mean that you're going to be good again, or just because you've been good for 3 years doesn't mean you're going to continue to be good. And ultimately, I think there were some miscalculations here, and it's led to a lost season. What will be a really weird blip on Mahomes's career resume, we hope.
Let it be known, we only missed the playoffs because of Mahomes' knee injury.
Oh, well, that's definitely
the history books will say Mahomes hurt his knee, and then so they missed the playoffs.
He got hurt, so they missed the playoffs.
Now they were right there. They were ready to make another run. It made me. I saw this video of Tyrann Mathieu today talking about him being emotional that the Chiefs didn't really try to re-sign him after that. It was 2021, I want to say. And it just made me think, like, they won these back-to-back Super Bowls, and it leads to you believing in your guys, and you kind of retain all your players. And that's kind of where we're at now. And now it's kind of like, oh shit, like maybe we rushed here and we shouldn't have brought all these guys back. Whereas, if something happens in 2021 where you lose the AFC Championship in heartbreaking fashion like that, embarrassing fashion, and it kind of leads to this little rebuild and a kind of a retooling of players, but like the decision gets made by that losing kind of thing. Like it's harder to make those kind of decisions after winning back-to-back Super Bowls. So yeah, you're going to bring everybody back and make another run at it. And it's like, if they win the Super Bowl in 2021, do they make all these moves? Do they move on from Tyreek and Tyrann Mathieu and Frank Clark and whoever else was, in that outgoing of class, which led to a rebuild and kind of led to the, Mahomes 2.0 and Chiefs 2.0 during his era. But it all kind of plays together. And it eventually catches up with you where, maybe they shouldn't have believed their record last year. They kind of should have believed, how point differential or whatever you want to call it, how they looked on the field, like wasn't quite the same. So you needed to start it, maybe a year earlier than what they did. And that's kind of what happens. It all adds up and falls back on you.
I had a thought, and now I feel like I can push back against my own thought. Because like at first I'm like, well, I don't think that trading Tyreek was the plan. Like, I don't think they entered that offseason saying we're trading Tyreek as a result of this loss, right? Like, not like the choice to not re-sign Tyrann Mathieu, and plenty of other personnel decisions. That was part of whatever their offseason plan was. But when Tyreek came to them and said that he wanted whatever number, wasn't it Devontae Adams got the deal? There was like, I want to say Devontae got traded and his new contract with the Raiders was so big or something that Tyreek was like, well, I want that.
Well, and I think the original was a Christian Kirk signing for like,
that might have
been or something. That was kind of like the first domino where then every receiver after that's like, well, I'm way better than Christian Kirk, so I gotta have this much more than him. And it just kept going up to the point where it was just like, eventually you reach a limit, which was
they acted quickly when he came to the team and said, I want to raise, I think Veach said, whoa, how much of a raise are we? Oh, okay. That's not going to work. And they had immediately those two trade partners, and they were just able to, we're getting all these picks from Miami, so let's just do it. This is going to suck, but we got to do it, right? And this is a different scenario. And something like that could possibly happen, Don't
have anyone that valuable now.
Right. I mean, it really feels like McDuffie is like the one possible option there. The
name's thrown around like McDuffie and Rashee Rice, which it's possible, I guess, but I don't know. Does Rice have much value across the NFL? I don't think.
That's what I started thinking about. I was like, what would you get?
Yeah. I mean, you want to give up these guys because, maybe they're not as good as we think, but other NFL teams see that too. Like, hey, maybe they're not as good as we thought.
Right.
So it's tough to be like, hey, we don't want this guy anymore. Will you give us a first round pick? Like, no, we won't.
While we take a break, you guys can think about trade value of possible Chiefs assets.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story. Like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You were talking about like when you win back-to-back Super Bowls, you start kind of believing, you're drinking your own, whatever, reading your own bylines and whatever, you're buying in to your own stuff. Another guy that, look, he's probably played better than this argument. But a guy that I think has really been a frustration for me most of this season is Hollywood Brown. A dude that we signed last year to try to unlock something in this offense, and he immediately gets hurt. And so because we don't get to see it, because we didn't get those receivers together in that plan, they decide, well, we need to bring you back. And he said, okay, I need more money. And they're like, well, we need to see it. We believed in the plan. So they gave him a raise. I think it was $7 million last season, and he got $8.5 or something to come back. And I'm like, why? And they believed in themselves so much. They believed in the idea, and they believed in that plan. And I do think that they have been hanging on to the, maybe not because it's what they want to do, but because they've had to, like, they've been hanging on to this methodical version of the Chiefs that started after they traded Tyreek. That led to an article from Stephen Ruiz calling it the slow, boring erosion of, the Kansas City Chiefs. And don't get me wrong, they keep coming into these off seasons saying, oh, we're gonna bring the fun back, and we're gonna throw the ball downfield, and we're gonna do all these different things. And then we'll hear an excuse like, well, Patrick has seen too much. Like he just knows too much now. He can't play as wild and reckless as he used to. But meanwhile, down in Jacksonville, I hear that like the actual phrasing that Liam Cohen has been trying to drill into Trevor Lawrence all season is just fucking rip it. Like he's just been just rip it, man. Like you haven't played football since you left Clemson. Like you're just running around thinking too much and trying to play in all these constraints. Just rip it. And Jacksonville's playing the best football that they have in a very, very long time. And I am jealous of the Jags, man. And like, I don't know if Andy can just say, hey, Pat, just rip it. I don't know if that's what he can do.
I said it last week.
I mean, that's, like we, like you said, like we need this fire breathing dragon, we need the dude that can over my dead body. And it looks like the offense isn't even like built to allow that to happen or something. I don't.
Well, am I crazy for thinking like in a weird way like this could help Mahomes? Because I mean, we're talking about him needing to be recalibrated. Like, I think most of us kind of want to see that this offseason. So it's kind of like a tear it all down and rebuild it from scratch kind of thing, which is going to have to do with the knee injury and just kind of, relearn the fundamentals and focus on, what he used to be and that kind of thing. Like it might be easier. This might be like the step away that he needs. And, obviously rehabilitation is a lot of work, like physically on your body, but like just sitting back and not having to, go through these off-season reps and do all this. Like, I don't know if that's what Mahomes needs necessarily is like what you opened up with, like talking about him needing to get on the same page and do all this stuff that he needs to work on. Like, I don't know if it's that. I think it's like a mental block where he kind of restrained his game to a specific style of play. And he needs to kind of break the chains of that. And it's kind of like, we keep thinking we're going to see it because like, well, we got the receivers in there, so now we're going to see it again. But like they're kind of up against it the whole time, where they've lost games, and now they're playing huge games at a 2-3, and like they can't afford to lose anything. So it's like we got to stick to what's worked here, and kind of gut this game out, which has worked. It's one of them won them a ton of games, but it wasn't really like the recalibration that we wanted to see from Mahomes this season. So I feel like it could be like, and then just like kind of stop relying on, the scrambling. Like you want the scrambling to be like a great last option. And this year it really felt like it kind of became option A or option B for him. And that could be, you might be sitting here saying, that's because nobody's open and all this. So he has to take it into his own hands, which I don't think is necessarily wrong, but it's also like, I know there's some times where I see open receivers and he's not ripping it. I feel like old Mahomes would have been ripping it more than he is now. So I do think there could be some good there where it's just like maybe he's forced to stay in the pocket more here and kind of regain his confidence from the pocket in the offense, in the receivers, and everything, where that's what needs to happen to get this offense back to an elite level. Instead of just like, hey, I have this mode I can get into, where I can pick up this first down when we need it most, which was, as we've said many times this year, a play that was saved a lot of times for a third down in a conference championship game, whereas we're seeing it in the second quarter of week 4 this year kind of thing.
You talked about how he's been like, restraining himself, like had to play a little bit different style. And, it's almost like because you haven't been using it or you've been telling yourself not to or whatever. Sometimes coaches talk about how we have to kind of like break a guy down and build him back up. But usually that's like a journeyman. That's Sam Darnold, that's Baker Mayfield, that's these guys that got hit so many times or made so many mistakes that they need somebody to build them back up. And that is not what we're talking about with Patrick. But I do think am I crazy to say that like there's something missing? I mean, he's still amazing
with Mahomes.
Like, yeah, like, dude, Patrick sucks throwing the ball deep.
Yeah. Yeah. He look no further than the deep ball. I mean, it's
like he was, I mean, I don't know if it ended up this way, but he was like 33rd in a category in a season. And I'm like,
how many?
How many? What's the attempts threshold here? Whatever, like, because 33rd. It
was below Taysom Hill in deep ball accuracy.
don't get me wrong. I'm sure that I am positive that we have issues with wide receivers as well.
But I even think of like the deep balls completed. Was it the Cowboys where like Hollywood Brown has to like turn and run back towards the ball and field it like a punt, diving backwards? I mean, he's wide open there. If it's put out in front of him, it's an easy touchdown. And it's just like kind of those, you see, I mean, the deep ball is obviously a mess. I got excited on that clear pass interference to Taekwon this week just because I was like, that was a good looking deep ball. Like, I don't care if it wasn't caught. I don't care if it didn't get flagged. That was a deep ball that I can live with. Like, that was a pretty good throw. And I feel like those are few and far between this season, maybe going back to last season, last couple years. I don't even know when it became a problem because I was just defensive, like, well, the offense fucking works. So who cares? Take your deep balls and shove it. I don't care. And now it's like, gosh, these deep balls. I'm watching Bo Nix fucking drop dimes down the sideline. Like, that looks nice. That looks nice. And I didn't think that was on the table.
It's like they're just not I mean, the thing that the offense really struggled with this year was just being in any way explosive, whether that is throwing or running. Like, there was just every single chunk play was Mahomes' legs. It's what it felt like, you know.
Because it felt like in years past it was like they weren't trying, but like, remember Mahomes' ADOT, his average depth of target this year, was up. I think it was second highest, but behind 2018. I'm going to check real quick if that's still the case, but like he was throwing the ball downfield. It just like wasn't working. It just wasn't there.
I mean, he has only had real chemistry for deeper throws with one player, and that's Tyreek, and he had it for a few minutes with Tyqueek. Maybe had it for a few minutes with I don't know if you want to say a Sammy Watkins. I don't think he necessarily did a lot of deep stuff. That was more catch and run. MVS. No, I mean, there were a lot of drops in there.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it started was 2023 with like the balls that were just like an inch off. And Mahomes is like, I could have thrown it.
What do I got to do?
That was 1 inch off. Now we're talking like 15 yards off.
It's been real bad.
His ADOT that I got is 7.9. It was 6.2 last year, 6.5 the year before. It is highest since 2020, which was 8.4, and then going backwards 8.8 and 9.1. 2018 when he was really ripping it. Now you don't really expect to get back to those numbers because the league was so different and teams are much better or more conservative at defending the deep ball. Like, they don't, most defenses are out there not allowing you to throw deep, forcing you to work underneath. Just kind of how the game has evolved. So you don't really expect that number to be, but it's higher than it's been since 2020. Since we've kind of seen this philosophical change in NFL defenses, it's the highest his ADOT has been, is how deep he's throwing the ball.
If I told you that a team or a quarterback was throwing it all over the yard this year, who is that?
Rivers. I mean, probably Stafford.
He was the first guy that came to mind for me was Stafford.
I mean, the Bills have neutered Josh Allen to a degree where it's like he makes big plays, he makes big chunk plays, mostly scrambling, but they're a running team first, no doubt about it. I mean, Burrow in very limited action. I don't know about this year, but last year,
even Dak, they're a run for. So I'm looking at like leaders in passing yards, Dak Prescott, but they also have Javonte, who's one of the leading rushers in the league. Jared Goff is third, and the Lions are clearly run first.
Jacoby Brissett, he's lighting it up.
He has been playing well. Patrick is fourth in passing yards. Passing yards does not mean throwing it all over the yard. The Chiefs obviously throw the ball a lot, but it's not like, the way that they used to throw the ball a lot. It looks so different, even if some of the numbers are similar. I kind of
looking at the stats here while we're here. His completion percentage is way down.
Oh, it's very, very bad this year compared
he's
to
basically been at 66 or 67 every single season, and it's down to 62.7.
Well, and I'm looking at all of the, now granted, this is in yards, but I'm looking at the top 12 in yards, and Mahomes is almost a full percent lower than everyone, and the person above him is Bo Nix at 63.5. Yeah, he's not been
Also,
completing passes.
His sack numbers, remember we kind of went in on this last year a bunch, talking about how he's getting sacked to a huge degree. He had 36 total last year. He's at 34 this year with a much improved offensive line.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a factor there.
3 games to go.
Yeah. Four games, right? 4 games?
Is there 4 more?
Is there?
No, I think there's only 3 games left.
I don't know. NFL season ended a couple weeks ago. So
Houston was one of the 4.
I'll forever be
3 more.
forever be stuck in week 15.
Well, look, I think it's possible that the distance that you're talking about because of the injury and the rehab and stuff, that it is good for him for sure. I think that the Chiefs this year probably really struggled with our topic last year all the time, motivation. I don't know what got him out of bed every day this year. I think that in turn,
that's kind of a common phrase, I guess, would be used for the Super Bowl losing team, the Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this was the ultimate hangover, because it was, they've been putting off this hangover for 3 years. The wins, like they didn't even get the hangover off the wins, right? Like they've just been cruising. And then in year 3, 15-1, all the way up until the loss in the Super Bowl. And I think that they didn't really have a whole lot of direction this year. Everybody, I imagine, was like, well, I want to prove that we weren't bad. But I think that next season, now that they're, going to miss the playoffs and everything, there should be no shortage of motivation for every single member of this organization to be like, that is a fluke and not, what we have coming, in the years ahead of us or whatever. I know that there are a lot of people though that are starting to wonder, thinking that like Mahomes was so good so immediately that it kind of his career almost looks like it's going like this in terms of just his individual performances, that it's, going like this, a downward trajectory in terms of the quality of the statistics that he's putting up, to the point that I've started, was it Simmons and Sal that were talking about Albert Pujols? I can't remember who it was, dude, but when someone brought up Albert Pujols, I just wanted to crawl in a hole and die.
Is that so bad?
Oh, dude,
I gotta look up Pujols stats.
He was like the best player in baseball until he turned about 31 years old, and like I don't think he made another All-Star team. And he played.
He just went to the Angels and became irrelevant because they never win anything.
Oh no, he was like in the minor leagues for a while, like this historic player. He just lost it, and became largely irrelevant. And I don't think that Mahomes is done, but I do think that he is going to have something to prove next year in his mind, I think, both to himself and to the world. And I think in actuality, he is going to walk into that season, with something to prove to people, despite the fact that we're talking like we believe that he is bona fide the best player in the NFL, the best active player in the NFL. And arguably among the best players that this league has ever and will ever see. But there are a lot of people that came into this season not ranking him the number one player at his position. And maybe they were looking for clicks or whatever. But like, I think that there are a lot of reasons that people would want to pick a Josh Allen over a Patrick Mahomes. Not based on resume, but just based on what they can do right now. And I think that having the injury, you know, that is going to motivate him in a maniacal way to be able to get back and be as ready and as sharp as possible. But that still doesn't guarantee any type of results on the field. And so this season and that injury, I think are probably, no matter what happens this offseason, are probably going to have me entering 2026 a little like apprehensive, you know, not knowing what we're going to see, and probably not like beating my chest like I can't wait to get back and we're just going to destroy everybody. I think I'm going to probably be slow playing stuff like, we'll see, man. You know, I hope. Have you wrestled at all with the fact that we may have seen the last completion from Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce? Is that in your brain yet?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I don't know how that affects things. I mean, it's kind of tough to say with what he wants to do. I mean, what did he want to do? Win a third Super Bowl and then retire after that? But then they lost, so he came back, and then, I don't know, do you want to go out like this? Like, it's kind of, it reaches a point where, like, you might not get to pick your ending. It might just be done at some point. So, yeah, I mean, obviously that would be tragic, and, you know, I would enjoy every step. There's not much more you can say other than, yeah, that's, I mean, I think Kent tweeted after the game, and I was like, oh, man, that is a bummer. Nice little hole shot on I think you might have been lined up in the backfield on the last completion. Just yeah, nice little find the hole in the zone. Kind of looked like some old school Mahomes Kelce, nothing special. Just like, hey, here's 12 yards. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people did that with the quarterbacks. I think it was more just like kind of like eye test. Talking about like a quarterback championship belt here.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I kind of got, but it was an easy defense. Like, well, Mahomes is still best when it matters most. Whether that's, you know, biggest games, biggest plays of a game, biggest moments of a play. Like, you can always kind of bank on that. And we haven't really seen that this year. I'm sure the blame for that goes around, spreads around the room, the team. But yeah, I think it's a legit take to have this offseason, although I'm not overly comfortable with, you know, Allen just being like the best. Like, if he goes out there and wins the Super Bowl, then absolutely. So I would say it's up for grabs. I'm not really like, I need to see more from like any one player, I think, to like grab that championship belt, if that's what we're kind of discussing. But yeah, it's a fair, you know, criticism at this point. I mean, if you're sitting there pointing at, you know, all he does is win and point at all those things, and then he stops winning, then it's like, well, okay, I don't have much of a defense other than look at what he's done throughout his career.
Mm-hmm.
Do you care at all about these players skipping post-game interviews?
No, I don't really.
It's weird.
I
don't know how prevalent it is, but it's like the last 3 weeks or so, like they haven't done it. It's mostly like Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and Kelce, it seems like. I don't really care, but it is kind of interesting.
I guess. I don't know. I remember I almost responded to a tweet about it this week. I think it was Petro, maybe, because it just kind of like, it like felt like you won't talk to the journalists. And I'm just like,
Murdering was pretty pissed.
And I'm just like, honestly, guys, like, you are defending your profession. And the way that you want to try to spin it is like, well, I'm the conduit to the fans. Like, you have to, you need to go up and talk because it's you talking to the fans. Even that from journalists is total horseshit, because I don't know many fans that listen to press conferences. Like if what you want is a quote or something to put in your newspaper, no one reads the fucking newspaper. You want to know how people hear from athletes? They hear from them directly on social media. Or, and as Nick points out, I mean, to me, if we want to say that he's saving everything for new heights and that's what new media is, and some people have a disdain for it and other people think, hey, it's great. I don't even have to, have this other thing. I can just listen directly to what the athlete says. I don't think I really care one way or another. I do care about journalism. I am someone that has a deep appreciation for the news and for sports coverage. Even like the old school formal versions of that.
ASA.
But I think that people have to realize if they are mad about an athlete not talking after a game, I know that they get paid a tremendous amount of money. I know that people want to say it's part of their contract, that they have to speak to the media and this, that, and the other. I think it's wild that like in the moments after these games, we shove a microphone in somebody's face and expect them to be able to be like calm and cool and collected or raw and real, but never going to really face like, I mean, we don't think about the consequences. They can't do both things. It's only what we want in that moment. And it is an impossible ask. And so for a guy 10 minutes after he walked off the field, when the highest peak of adrenaline that he's going to have for the next week, and immediately in that moment, that's when you want to force them to talk. I don't even think it's fair, frankly. I know it's the way that we've done things for a long time, but I don't see fans complaining about them not talking. I see journalists complaining about them not talking. And to me, no offense, guys, get over yourselves. Like these guys can choose to talk if they want to. It just doesn't bother me that much.
Yeah, I think it doesn't really bother me. I think the only thing I would be annoyed at is like, I don't know, Rice and Vore, they seem kind of checked out there. So it just seems like they're kind of not all the way into it. So that would be the only thing that's kind of annoying me, but that's whatever. Can you explain? Because this drives me, I don't know, I shouldn't say insane because I don't really get mad about it. I'm just like, I don't understand this at all. People lose their minds with Andy Reid's quotes after the game because he says the same thing. Can you explain to me, like I'm five, like why? What is him saying something different going to change? Can you?
I think the reason that people want to hear something different is because they're seeing something different. And it's like,
do they realize it doesn't accomplish anything?
Well, what it accomplishes for them is that it might like put their mind at ease. So look.
Now I'm good. Thanks, Andy, for getting upset. Do you think Buccaneers fans are really, excited after Todd Bowles threw the whole team under the bus?
Well, there are people that are like, yeah, those entitled athletes. Of course, I want a coach that's a red ass and does all those things. Like I mean, I don't. But to me, look. I don't have a preference one way or another which way the coach communicates of the team that I cheer for. I know when I was a player, yelling at me didn't really accomplish anything. It didn't like make me tune you out or whatever. I didn't get the negative, but it didn't like motivate me in any type of way. And the reason that Andy gives the same answers over and over and over again is because like these guys have to be process oriented and they have to be consistent messaging and it is a marathon and you're building a program and you have to have sayings and you have to have, this is our goal and this is how we talk and this is what we do. If you think about the program building that has been covered pretty heavily in Chicago this year, like one of the first things that Ben Johnson openly talked about was having to change Caleb Williams' sideline and on-field demeanor because if something goes wrong and you are pouting and you don't want to talk to anybody and all the facial expressions and everything, it does not instill confidence. So you don't get to hang your head on this team. We don't do that. That's not how we do it, right? And that's probably not the way he's saying it. He's not reprimanding, but it all has to become positive. Like, I have to think about this as an educator all the time. Like, how do we message? Like what is the actual tone of these things? And I think that what people want is to have their cake and eat it too. They want these people to be human, but also like you have to be a certain level of robotic to be this kind of efficient and this kind of high performing. And I just don't know that there's a perfect answer to any of these things. And once again, Andy hasn't had the benefit of even looking and seeing, aside from in the moment, what went wrong, unless we're complaining about what he says on Mondays. But even then, he's probably going to tell you, look, what do you want, Andy to go in and overreact every game?
Yeah, that's the point. Nothing he says to the media it carries any weight. It doesn't matter. You know, if it's not like his job doesn't matter, everything of substance that he's going to do or send the message to the team is going to be behind closed doors. Like, it's just not going to be a public thing. So wanting him to come out here and say something different in a press conference for us to look at on Twitter or in a little 90-second video. So, thank you. Andy's seeing it too. My problems with the team are confirmed. Andy is confirmed. It's just ridiculous. It accomplishes nothing. So but it's like a widely held belief. People lose their minds after every game. And, I can't wait for Andy's presser to tell us that they're just a play away. Like, that's going to change.
I think I just figured it out. I think I figured out like what the difference is between the people that get pissed off and you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Andy or the players owe you explanations after a game? Do you feel like they have to talk to you?
Not really, no.
The other people do. I pay your salary. I'm the fan that shows up. If I wasn't here, you wouldn't be here. This sport wouldn't exist without me. There's a certain sense of entitlement about like the viewer, the consumer. And I think that that's where it's coming from. I could be wrong, man, but like, that is what I think it is like, I pay for this. I showed up today. I paid my hard-earned money, and you can't come to the podium and say something different than you said the last 15 weeks. Like, people think that they deserve it somehow because they bought a jersey or because they bought a season ticket or because they've had season tickets for 10 years. I don't think that any of those guys owe us anything at all. Am I paying in some type of way? Am I involved in some type of way? Sure. I feign that all the time. I imagine that the colors that I wear determine the outcomes of games, and I change the numbers on the microwave because I'm trying to put good vibes out for my Chiefs players. But I know they don't actually owe me anything. They don't have to come and talk to the media to assuage my concerns. I'm not owed anything from these guys. And the people that think that we are the ones I imagine that are getting pissed off. And that goes to the journalists that aren't getting the quotes that they want, or the fans that do overreact and say, we just lost. What are you going to do about it? And like, I don't think I respond that way.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of like a respect thing, because I just respect Andy Reid a lot. I mean, for the job he's done, for everything he's done here, I think it's become criminally underrated, everything he's done here at this point. I'm still wrestling with the idea of, do Chiefs fans in general hate Andy Reid, or is it just a Twitter thing? Because, man, if you get on Twitter and just look around, it is the most anti-Andy Reid place you could possibly imagine. And I get being mad about this season, but things have gone awry. But he's done such a good job of putting this team in the best position to win when it matters most for so many years that it's just like, I just have the utmost trust in him, which, maybe has been lessened to a degree this season, but it's still just like astronomically high. Like, I don't know if people know what it's like. One thought I kind of had is just like, there's so much Mahomes and Brady and Chiefs and Patriots comparisons that it's like that's who we're up against instead of being up against the 31 other NFL teams.
Yeah.
Like I don't think
competing with the ghost of the Patriots. Like
exactly.
they don't.
And it's like, well, the Patriots could do it for 20 years. Like how could we miss the playoffs in year 8? Where it's like you look at the history of the NFL and there's been one dynasty that's really lasted over 8 years. And it's like, then you look, and those are just the best of the best teams. And then you look at 31 other NFL teams. I'm trying being a fan of the Jets or the Giants or one of these other teams where it's just like, they don't know what the fuck's going on at all. And it's like, I look at that all around and it's like, I mean, this is what it could be like. I remember how bad it can be. So it's, that was kind of one thought that's kind of hurt. I think Chiefs fans in general is going up against, like, our biggest rival is the Patriots, and Mahomes' biggest rival is Tom Brady. I think it's kind of hurting the expectations of that is hurting our perception.
So that means that the Patrick Mahomes Chiefs are gonna be possibly the victims of 2 comparisons for basically his entire career. What he did in 2018. He will be measured against his first season, his whole career. Well, it's not as good as that 5,000 yards and 50 touchdown season.
Which there was a whole thing last week about Chiefs fans freaking out because one of the PFF guys, like, his stats looked better because he had Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill in his peak. Like, yeah, no shit. Yeah, if you have 2 Hall of Famers at their peak, like, yeah, your stats are going to be at their best. That makes sense. And Chiefs fans lost their shit. I couldn't even figure out why. I was trying to figure out. I swear I looked at it for like an hour trying to figure out what the reason was for people being so upset about that tweet was, and I couldn't figure it out.
Imagine being Patrick Mahomes and having like such an amazing first season as a starter that like no one can seem to get past it, and you're never as good as that. And the other comparison that you get for your entire career is the most successful like run of coach and quarterback for a franchise ever. Probably is it the best? Was 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards? Is that the best individual season ever? Or did we say it was second to Peyton?
Yeah, I think Peyton's Broncos season probably.
So the second best quarterback season ever is what he's compared against, and the best team, the best dynasty or coach quarterback combo or whatever, literally the best and the second best are the 2 things that he's going to be compared against for his whole career.
Which is a big reason why people are ranking like other quarterbacks ahead of him, was like, because he's getting worse. Like, he's not as good as he was when he had, all pros at every, like, a fantastic offensive line, a defenses that weren't playing, that weren't ready for that style of football. 2 great receiving weapons, like Andy Reid at a younger age, a little fresher. Yeah, it's not going to be recreated. It's never going to happen again.
It's rough, man. I do want to point out, for those of you keeping score at home, the Chiefs defense did hold the Chargers to a full touchdown less than their weekly scoring average, continuing what has been a pretty great season as far as holding opponents under their season average. To date, through 14 games, only 1, 2, 3 opponents have scored more than they typically score against the Chiefs defense. Now, I don't think the Chiefs defense is good.
I wish I just had 1 ounce of trust in the Chiefs defense.
I don't think that they're very good, but there are some stats that I'm clinging to that are like, well, that's good. That is good. You guys aren't good, but that's good. And that's how I feel about both sides of the ball. It's happening on offense too. Hey, that's good. You guys are not good, but that thing that you do is good.
They really, man, they can go on hot streaks, like the end of that Colts game, or the beginning of this game, where it's just like, man, they lock in and they can be otherworldly. And then other times it's just like getting mowed down. They're a real rhythm defense.
Yeah. Look, I think
second half of last game was what I was thinking of. Second half of last week where they just all of a sudden Stroud.
Oh, the Texans, yeah.
They just couldn't complete a pass. It's like all of a sudden, this defense, like we have no trust in him, and now it's 5 drives in a row they can't complete a pass. It's just like there's no in between.
Should we do some sports nuts?
Shit. Oh.
No.
As of the whole episode been a sports nuts, I don't.
It's probably has. All right,
did not prepare. Let me think.
That's fine. I will. I'll put my nuts out there. All right, sports nuts.
What is sports nut, huh?
So, on Sunday, part of the good vibes, Dirk, not the reason, but part of the reason, where it just felt like everything was coming up Ryan. Completely unprompted Chiefs outfits going to church with my wife and my stepdaughter, who actively try to show me that they're not Chiefs fans, like all the time. And I don't understand why. There was like, they
were wearing Chiefs outfits.
I came upstairs and they were both wearing Chiefs shirts to go to church. And they have never done it before, like ever. And I'm like, I didn't even say anything. And I start thinking in my head, I'm like, okay, well,
is that like a passive aggressive? Like, look how bad our team is. Like this guy's a Chiefs fan. Look at him. Look how terrible year he's having.
All it took was a historic collapse to maybe convert my family into Chiefs fans. Like, hey, maybe this one bad season can still serve a purpose. I don't think that's it though. It didn't help anyway. I don't know. I'm still in a bad way. I do appreciate the therapy session today, Dirk. You worked hard on trying to convince me that it's all going to be okay, and that.
Well, just think of it happens at any other time. Think if it happens late in the season when think we're a Super Bowl team and he gets hurt like that. I mean, that is crushing.
Oh,
like I just didn't. It sucks to see him get hurt, and it sucked to lose. But it was just like, well, the season's over anyway, so it's not. Speaking just as a Chiefs fan watching games, it doesn't really change that much.
Oh, and that, okay. So the fact that it has basically no impact on this season, because of the trajectory the team was already on.
And frankly, it helps the team because they're more likely to lose these games and improve their draft pick now.
I would like to think so. Yes. Sure. That's totally fine. I definitely still worry about what it means for this offseason, both for him and for the team. I'm sure that he will do literally the best possible job. Like whatever the task is, like you're going to get 115% from Patrick Mahomes on every single thing. And yes, he will shatter recovery records and I'm sure, go on to probably have a fairly decent season. I think that this offseason, because they failed so completely, I think that it is going to bring about some big changes. That is my expectation. This doesn't feel like we just need to turn a couple knobs. This feels like we need a new console a little bit. And I don't think they need to completely change everything. But there are some, I don't think it's just like, well, we're going to, add a couple fresh faces and just go right back at it. I don't think that that's going to be it.
It's definitely the most interesting offseason. I just don't know what the moves are unless you're talking about trading some talent that we got. Coaching staff could be interesting. I
have no idea where people's contracts are in terms of the coaching staff or if anybody's like really going to be up for interviews. I personally believe, and I have only my guts and my eyes that tell me this. I think it would be a huge win for the Chiefs if Mike Borgonzi reached out and ultimately hired Matt Nagy in Tennessee. I think that I think.
Oh my God! What an uninspiring hire that would be.
I think that the Titans, they might be able to sell themselves and sell their public on. We believe that Cam Ward is a better player than Mitch Trubisky, and he got Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs. So, like, we believe in what can happen here or whatever. I don't. But here's the thing, man. I don't think that there are a lot of good coaching candidates out there for head coaches currently right now. Anyway,
we'll get some Dave Tobe interviews. We were getting Dave Tobe interviews a few years ago.
Yeah, I just.
I may have finally. I've always been a Tobe defender, and I may have finally flown the coop.
Oh, he broke me this year for sure. I don't really believe in Nagy.
Well, I don't. I think he takes a lot of blame. Probably unfairly, maybe not unfairly. I mean, it's adding up at this point. I would have said he has almost zero effect before this year, and now I'm kind of like, I can kind of.
I don't know what his influence is, but I can see a correlation between.
But there's
since he's come back, or since Bieniemy has left, or whatever, and some of it has been dictated to them, but some of it is the way that they choose to go about things, and we don't know the inner workings of any of this stuff. Like, I think that it's 99% Andy Reid, and whatever influence Nagy can have is not adding up for me.
I mean, one thing he's definitely not is part of the solution. You're not looking at anything Nagy has done here at his time since being back Kansas City. Oh, there he is. That's where he helped right there. I mean, it's just been worse.
And I think that if what you end up doing as an organization is just asking, like, well, or possibly saying, well, like, I mean, I don't think that Matt has like a huge impact. Like, this is Andy's go, well, then what are you going to do? Like changes. I'm sorry. Like, when you fail this fantastically, you have to make some changes. And I know that they're, the Titanic is not what I'm saying because they sink, but like you're a big boat. Like, turning isn't, a little race car. It takes a while to turn an organization. You can do something in an off season, but like, they're not going to trade Patrick Mahomes. They're not going to fire Andy Reid, some big time earth shattering change, but some significant changes to the way that, even if it's just the process, even if they don't fire coaches, but they change the way that they approach the game or something, like, something has to change in response to this year. And I think that if all you keep doing, not you, Dirk, but like as an organization, if you just keep saying, like, I don't know, was he really, what was his percent of the problem? Like, what was that? You're doing yourself a disservice. It's like, if they're not really adding, if you're not like, I can see what Matt Nagy is doing on this offense. Here's all the Matt Nagy things that are working for us, then move on. Like, I think that Mahomes likes him a lot. I think that like the vibe there is maybe a thing to where like Matt Nagy might be a really good quarterbacks coach, like something like that, right? But,
or who's the Rodgers dude who was the Nathaniel Hackett?
Oh yeah, Nat Hackett. Like, and honestly, the way that Hackett's one opportunity to be a head coach went might be what it would look like if you gave the reins to Matt Nagy here. And I don't know that, and I he seems like a nice guy. I don't know.
I think the changes might just be within Andy. I mean, you might just have to trust Andy to evolve. Whereas he's kind of been sticking. It's perfect. I think it's perfectly reasonable to kind of stick with what they had from last year. They went 15-1. They went to the Super Bowl. They had a bad game, but then they're getting their weapons back. Like, I think most of us kind of thought that's what was going to happen. I think he probably thought that's what's going to happen. But now he's seen it not happen. So now you have to
people. Is that what you're saying? Like we didn't have our receivers last year.
Yeah.
And so because those guys are coming in, that's the change. We get to run the offense that we meant to run last year, and we're just going to do it this year.
Exactly. I mean, and we were close. I mean, we were in the fucking Super Bowl, and there's reasons to think we should have a better offensive line. We should have more receiving options here. There's reasons to think this is going to get better, where they ignored the warning signs of, hey, this might be actually getting worse. And these things that we thought were going to help actually didn't help. So I think it's defensible going into it. But I mean, everybody agrees at this point that changes have to be made. But I'm not sure if those changes will be like Andy's changing offensive coordinator. It might just be like Andy's going back to the lab and going to have to draw up a whole new offense kind of thing. I think that's almost more likely than going out and hiring, Kirk, what's his face? Kirk. I keep saying Kirk Ferentz. Who's the offense? Who's the
Kurt?
Is it Kirk? Kurt
Herbstreit?
Jesus Christ.
Kurt,
Who is the Commander's offensive? Cliff Kingsbury. Jesus.
Cliff Kingsbury. I'm like,
yeah.
Kurt.
All right. Real quick, sports nuts. My biggest flashback was to, I'll stay on the same theme in 2019 when he dislocates his knee.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I was in public. I was in Atlantic City at a casino and ran out of the room and fell to the floor and just kind of banged on the floor with my head on the ground in public for like 5 minutes. I was just like, I mean, I had a lot on the line. I had Chiefs 2019 on the line. This is up and coming. Like, I thought this is all going to happen. And I thought in that moment it was completely derailed. So I think the saving grace, which I got to off the top, is this could be so much worse. I mean, Brady hurts his knee and misses an entire season coming off the greatest team we've ever seen. What's the sequel to the greatest team we've ever seen? We don't get to find out because he's out for the season. That's fucking tragic.
And that wasn't that week 1?
Week 1, of course. Against the Chiefs. A game where Brody Croyle started, so we didn't have a chance. But he got hurt. Damon Heward came in and almost led us to a victory. But fell just short.
It is kind of emblematic of the difference between the timing of that injury and like where the team was at and everything. I mean, that was like week 7 or something.
Yeah, right on.
Early enough in the year, and everything that, this one feels different for sure.
Yeah. And any time in the last 8 years or over the next 8 years would have been a worse time for it to happen than this exact moment happened.
Look, I don't know what changes they're going to make. We're going to be talking about them for the next, I guess, a few weeks, and then we're going to have a long off season. But I don't know, man.
Watch the game?
Am I going to watch these games?
I know. Are you pumped to watch the game? I hope you watch. I mean, we got to watch Gardner Minshew behind this offensive line, see what they can do.
I think that both Chiefs Titans and Chiefs Raiders might be of the quality where after the game, people are going to be like, that set offensive football back 25 years. Like, it's just going to be so bad. I think almost every team that's played the Raiders has played their best game of the season against the Raiders this year.
I don't know what they do if the offensive line stays in shambles, which I'm guessing it does. They don't have a running game. The receivers can't get open. Mitchell's going to be in there. It's just going to be like, I don't know how they move the football.
I don't either. It's going to be, yeah. I don't know. We've done it twice. I still don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what we're going to do. I love the Chiefs. I love Patrick Mahomes. Get well soon, Patrick. This has been Amateur Hour. I'm Ryan Scott Hall. He's his Dirkness. And
fuck Rayola.
Oh, interesting. From a Nebraska fan? I mean, I have to talk about that off air. I think we're going to be okay, guys, next year.